According to Vegapunk, all desires are born into this world, and devil fruits are an example, as they are the desire for human evolution taken form. What if I could do this? What if I could do that? And thus, devil fruits are the manifestation of human desire. But because they're tampering with human evolution and modifying the DNA, this is considered unnatural and thus hated by the sea, the mother of all nature. Of course, this is all a theory, but this is the gist of how devil fruits function. Upon first reading this, I did not actually take this literally or at face value, but more so a figure of speech. So long as people dream, believe, or desire it, it will eventually take shape and form because the imagination and the world has no limits. For example, almost everything on Egghead is considered to be impossible or beyond our imagination, but because of Vegapunk and the Ancient Kingdom's desire, it was possible in creating these things. And that's why Egghead is considered the island of the future. And I assume devil fruits are the same thing, just a byproduct of our desires. But majority of the people are taking Vegapunk's words as literal, so we're gonna run with that, as there actually is a lot of evidence to back up this theory. And believe it or not, humanity's emotions and desires are capable of manifesting things in real life. But how deep does this theory goes, as it might not only affect devil fruits but also the various races and the world at large. Of course, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, click the bell icon to stay notified for more videos like this. I would greatly appreciate it. We're close to 5,000 subscribers, and I do hope that we can make it soon. And of course, for those who do support me, I'll be sure to give you a hug and kiss with consent to show just how much I love you. Now, Vegapunk's explanation does make a lot of sense, especially thematically, as one of the main themes of the story is ambition, desire, and your dreams, and chasing after it and making it a reality. And there are quite a few examples to prove that human desire or emotions can manifest things. So if you have not watched One Piece Film Red yet, I advise you to skip ahead a bit because there will be spoilers. So now that you've been warned, it turns out that some of the content in Film Red is actually canon, or more so the backstory of the movie, as Uta the character is actually canon in the story and is officially a part of Luffy's flashback, but so is the LGUK incident, and that means in turn so is Taught Musica, which is basically a demon entity sealed inside of a song. And well, the backstory of this being is quite interesting, as it's the manifestation of human negative emotions. So literally the collective human negative emotion created this being, and it had to be sealed away, and thus the Devil King was born, and is even considered an entity from a different dimension or world, kind of how Vegapunk explains devil fruit users. But there is another side to this equation, and that is the Clobberterman, which is said to be a water spirit or fairy that dwells in ships. It is the manifestation of a ship given form after being loved and cared for by the crewmates. This has a lot of implications, but also prove that devil fruits could be a manifestation of human desire for evolution. But anywho, those examples prove that desire and emotions can manifest things in the world of One Piece. The series always had supernatural elements, and this could also explain Zoro's Ashura. And it also explains how certain characters are so compatible with the devil fruits that they have because their secret desire attracted them to this fruit, or vice versa. Like how Blackbeard said this fruit chose me is because that fruit was specifically what he always wanted, or Doflamingo's string fruit because he wanted to control everything, Law's a doctor that wanted to cure his disease, and Luffy always seeks freedom, etc, etc. This could also explain mythical beings because people believed and desired them, they manifested into devil fruits. And then there's Haki, that is the manifestation of your spirit, or well, willpower, and that's why it counters devil fruits, because you're using your willpower to resist the desire and lust of the devil. Maybe the will of D originates from this idea and it actually stands for the will of desire. It explains how they're God's natural enemy, as they're actively going against nature and natural evolution, plus they always go against the establishment. It's like it's in their nature for them to be outlaws and go against the rules. Even the ones who side with the Marines like Garp and Saul end up going against the establishment. But then how are these devil fruits created? Because this does sound like a wishing well, or some sort of god is granting these wishes. Maybe when a person dies, their truest desires are then reborn into the fruit. Even though I like this answer and this does explain a lot, there are some shaky things about this, such as if that's the case of how devil fruits are created, then why aren't we getting new devil fruits now? Why aren't we getting multiple devil fruits of the same thing? Why are they so specific? And why would the government commission Vegapunk and others to recreate devil fruits through science if you can just wish them up, I guess? Vegapunk has always been trying to catch up to the technology of the ancient kingdom. And again, Egghead is an example. They shouldn't be real, but they managed to become a reality because humans desire or hope for it, and thus they create it. You're only limited by your imagination. And to see different branches of humanity's evolution take various forms, the devil fruits were created, and because they're artificially made and not a part of nature, it is naturally hated by the sea. And if Vince Smoke Judge is capable of giving his children devil fruit-like abilities but without the drawback, then imagine what the ancient kingdom were capable of doing. But how deep does this rabbit hole go, as we know that the ancient kingdom, I guess, were trying to evolve humanity through different paths, but what if this is also the origin of different races in the world? As Vegapunk states, that these people wanted to see, what if I could do this, what if I could do that, and well, you can look at the races as these examples as well. What if I had longer legs? What if I had longer arms? What if I had a longer lifespan? What if I was a giant? What if I can live underwater? And thus these various races were created. And remember, Vegapunk has always been trying to catch up to the tech of the ancient kingdom, and that might involve giants. As you remember, Caesar Clown and Vegapunk were involved with the giant experimentation, yet they're not trying to replicate other races like fishmen or the minks, but giants specifically. Where did they get that idea from? It's possible giants are actually artificially made. Could explain why so many characters in the series are so tall, because of the modified genes through their lineage that was passed down through generations, or they just want to recreate giants because they're pretty damn powerful. That makes just as much sense. Maybe this is all the result of the ancient kingdom experimenting to see the potential of human evolution, and maybe they created devil fruits and went a step too far. Or it could be the exact opposite, inspired by all of these races and their special abilities, and thus they created the devil fruits. Now, I believe the first person to ever eat a devil fruit was not supposed to, and probably did it because they were greedy, curious, or even hungry. And because of the strange powers they gained from this fruit, they were considered a devil. And because of the inability to swim, people believed they were cursed by a god, and thus continuing or beginning the legend of the devil fruit. Again, if Judge is able to create the Vince Smoke children and even make a clone army, then imagine what the ancient kingdom were capable of doing using the lineage factor, which I do think is the key to everything. And back to that topic, it is interesting that Sanji and his siblings do have devil fruit-like abilities, but they don't have the drawback. Maybe it's because their bodies were directly modified using the lineage factor rather than modifying a fruit, because you have to remember, smile users can't swim either. When you eat a smile fruit, regardless if it works on you or not, you cannot swim. And I think that's because they're modifying something a part of nature itself, and so the sea rejects it. And on the topic of devil fruits, I always found it interesting that the government always had access to them, such as Spandam getting Kaku and Khalifa's devil fruit through connections, Doflamingo getting the Mera Mera no Mi, and even Fujitori's devil fruit came from the government. Even the Celestial Dragons just had devil fruits feeding it to their slaves to see what happens. And you always wondered, like, where are they getting them from? And so I always like the idea of devil fruits coming from the Eve tree. As you know, in biblical term, she was the first to eat the forbidden fruit and condemned humanity. In essence, she committed the original sin. The Eve tree can absorb sunlight, that's why Fishman Island is able to get light down there, and the tree is rooted on the sea floor, so it's getting the energy and water from the sea itself. And then you wonder, why don't all fruits just be reborn on the Eve tree? Well, that's because when a fruit user dies, the power goes to the next nearest identical fruit. And we live in a pretty big world, so it's easy to understand why the power doesn't always go back to the Eve tree. So in conclusion, I think devil fruits are artificially made, born from the desire and hope to see the potential of human evolution, but because it goes against the laws of nature, it is hated by the sea. I do love both explanations, and they both do make sense to me. And there could be a sea god. Maybe it's Emu. That's a big theory, that Emu named backward is Umi, and that means sea or water. So therefore that person has the water devil fruit or is a sea god. There's also the first Poseidon. Maybe they cursed the devil fruit users. It also explains why Emu is so adamant on erasing history, because he doesn't want anyone to know how devil fruits were created, and kind of squash desires and dreams altogether. And would explain why the will of D, or dreams, are so significant in the world of One Piece. But now that I think about it, the will of D could also be the will of dreams as well. Because Emu's name backward is Umi, which is Japanese for sea, and the sea is said to hate devil fruits, Emu could be a representation of that. Because the moon does affect the seas through the gravitational force, it would make a lot of sense for Emu and the government to not like the moon folk or the D-clan. They're not from here and they're trying to alter nature. Maybe they got the 20 kingdoms to band together against these alien forces, and we're like, we're the real gods, not you guys. When we first see Emu, they're surrounded by plants, animals, and beautiful nature, so maybe they genuinely hate devil fruits and the D-clan because they think that they went against God's natural purpose, like the earth itself. By creating these abominations, and the celestial dragons might think that they're actually the pure ones that aren't affected by these devil fruits or experimentations. That's why they just feed people devil fruits for fun, because they don't like it, they don't care, they think that shit is tainted. And I do think the D-clan are intertwined with the devil fruits. And smiles could be a reference to that. When you eat it and it's defunct, you end up smiling and laughing forever, and well, when Luffy awakens his devil fruit, he's laughing and smiling all the time. In a way, this could be mocking the legacy of Joy Boy. But because of the crazy world One Piece is and all the supernatural nonsense that happens, space, aliens, monsters, dragons, gods, robots, etc, etc, does any explanation really makes sense, because that's the type of world One Piece is. It's interesting that none of the fake devil fruits like Smiles or the replicated one from Kaido's DNA have any of the spirals on the normal devil fruits, but yet Judge's children have the spirals on the eyebrow. So I think each member of the Mads have a missing ingredient, and when they get back together, they're gonna uncover the secret of the devil fruits personally. And as Yonji explains it, the lineage factor is the blueprint of life, and discovering it put one step into the realm of godhood. A lot of things in One Piece can be explained by science or through reasoning. Not all the time, sometimes shit just happens. But usually when people are faced with the unknown, sometimes they go towards religion or God as a way to answer their questions. Some sort of outside force is causing this because they don't understand what's going on, and this could be the case with devil fruits. Like, they probably called him Joy Boy because after he awakened his fruit, he was always smiling and laughing, and they probably called them devil fruits because the first person to drown, they probably thought it was a curse from the sea god. It's clear that the world 900 years ago was a lot different than today's society, and probably a lot more unhinged and insane. I could definitely see devil fruits being a mix of supernatural and science. Personally, I think the Skypians are aliens. Well, Skypians are aliens. They created the devil fruits, and we know how highly advanced they used to be. In fact, Lunarians could be an evolution of the Skypian race taken form. Similar to what Vegapunk's doing now, they created Lunarians in order to create the perfect being, one that can survive any environment. Also funny, their fire kind of reminds me of an engine. The hotter the flame, the more defense they have, the less flame they have, the faster they are. I love that devil fruits are basically the manifestation of people's dreams. As long as you dream for it, it'll eventually happen. Kind of harkens back to the quote of Roger and even Blackbeard. Dreams never die, and they'll never cease to exist as long as people have the freedom to do. It's ironic Blackbeard talks about dreams because he can't sleep, and so he can't dream himself. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Otherwise, hope you guys have a good day and a good night. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.